we did have the opportunity to pick the time and place ourselves, it makes it all the more mortifying that the execution of the thing, the planning and execution of it, was so unbelievably bungled. I mean, I'll give you an instance. I talked to some of the people who were involved in planning for the war in Washington when the planning was underway, and I would say things like, well, look, I want you to be assured that we're not going to betray the Kurds again, that we won't let the Turkish army form part of our intervention in northern Iraq, that we won't compromise ourselves in that way, and all kinds of other quite highly political assurances about the liberation of Iraq. That, you know, there would be early elections, that there would be no censorship, all this kind of thing. It didn't occur to me to ask, and I presume the Army Corps of Engineers can get the lights turned on in Baghdad fairly easily. I didn't ask that. First, I didn't think it was really my business. I mean, the Army Corps of Engineers is not something I know a huge amount about. But I would plead guilty to saying I made the assumption that they would be able to do the elementary can-do stuff, and they haven't been able to. Now, this again isn't all our fault. It is the fault of a society that's been run hopelessly into the ground, well into the ground, by 3 decades of fascism and war, and by the private ownership of all its resources by a crime family. But still, there have been failures of what I would just call elementary competence that make one whistle, and that have of course had the terrible effect of discrediting what could have been a wonderful moment, not just for Iraq, but for the region itself. And at a moment also of great pride for us, because I think it was and remains a noble undertaking.
We're out of time. Here's the commercial, edited by Christopher Hitchens and Christopher Caldwell, Left Hooks and Right Crosses, The Trial of Henry Kissinger. Unacknowledged Legislation, Writers in the Public Sphere came out in 2001. Thomas Jefferson, Author of America, this is a part of the Eminent Lives series, came out in 2005. Love, Poverty, and War, Journeys and Essays. Blood, Class, and Empire, The Enduring Anglo-American Relationship was the original title, and then it got changed, did it not?
Blood, Class, and Nostalgia was the original title.
And the Elgin Marbles, Should They Be Returned to Greece? What is this very quickly about?
It's actually Elgin, it's a hard G.
Okay.
He's the English lord, Scottish lord to be exact, who removed most of the sculpture of the Parthenon. Actually almost exactly half of it, and took it to his private home. It's now held by the British Museum. The view of some of us is that the sculpture was supposed to be carved as a unity and it should all be in one place, and that place should be Athens.
Blaming the Victims. This is edited by Edward Said and Christopher Hitchens. Letters to a Young Contrarian. This is Why Orwell Matters. No One Left to Lie to, The Values of the Worst Family, which is the new edition of the Triangulations of William Jefferson Clinton. Prepared for the Worst, Selected Essays and Minority Reports. A Long Short War, The Postponed Liberation of Iraq pamphlet. Thomas Paine's Rights of Man. One of his newest, God Is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything. We also have The Missionary Position about Mother Teresa. And something coming out in October, The Portable Atheist, Essential Readings for the Non-Believer, selected and with introductions by Christopher Hitchens, who has been our guest for the last 3 hours on In Depth. Thank you.
No, it's been a joy. Thanks for having me.
Christopher Hitchens on In Depth. He's a contributing editor for Vanity Fair magazine. For more of his work, visit vanityfair.com.